Hello viewers and welcome to another video. So as we saw in the last video, we finally got our C license and now we are going to be getting into the Porsche Cup, which is something I've been waiting for quite some time, and we finally got there. Now these cars are very different compared to GT3 cars that I've raced in Le Mans Ultimate and Assetto Corsa. They have a lot less aero and they're much trickier to drive, so you don't have the confidence with the front end axle grip. And now, I thought that they didn't have traction control and ABS, but in this new update, they're given the ABS and traction control, but it's still a very challenging car to drive. I'm not going to ramble too much. We're going to get right to the action, but I hope you enjoy this video, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for future content. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get right to it. Alrighty guys, welcome to another video. So we are at the circuit called Oschersleben. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but first time in the Porsche Cup. Here we go. We're waiting for the lights and we are about to take off right now. So we got a pretty good launch here. We're going to pass Fabio here on the left, but we're gonna have to be really cautious coming into turn 1, 2. It's gonna be chaotic here, as I'm going to quickly learn. So we already have 2 people, 3 people spinning out here, and we automatically bump up a couple positions, and now we're in P9. And then another person spinning out, and people getting caught up in that pile-up, so now we're able to pass, and now we move up into P6. And easy, just like that, we're easily able to make it to where we could potentially get into the top 5. Now, being my first time in the Porsche Cup, I still had a lot to learn. I did a little bit of a practice session, and boy, it's a very tricky car to drive. So at this point, we just got to settle in, and once again, we got cold tires, and this car is reckless with cold tires. So Mitchell makes a move here on the inside, and we have to concede the position, but we got to be really cautious. Luis is right behind us, so we're just going to settle in and get into the slipstream. We got to watch out. Luis is going to try to make a move on the inside here, and we're going to see what happens. So he gets side by side. We're going to back out, and we're going to have to get right behind him. And then another person here spins out, so we have to move over to the left. And Mitchell, trying to avoid it, goes off track, and he loses traction. So we're able to maintain P6 despite getting overtaken a couple times. So now Luis is building a little bit of a gap from us, and he's a little bit far away for us to really utilize the slipstream. But we should try to make some progress here. This is a really technical circuit, very challenging, especially going to turn 1, turn 2. You have to get it just right. So I went way too wide, and Mitchell's going to make an easy overtake on the inside. Nothing I can do there. That was solely my fault. And went way too wide again here. Now we got to watch out for Gabriel. Gabriel is right behind us, but we luckily get a decent exit, a little bit more speed than him, and utilizing the full width of the track. Now this turn right here is extremely tricky. You got to be careful on cold tires, and they're warmed up now, but not quite optimal. But it's really weird because you brake and you pitch it in and you let it ride out, but you can't go like too wide and you can't give it too much throttle. It is extremely difficult to explain how to take that optimally. I still really didn't learn it. But we're trying to make do. It seems like the aliens that were racing on this course were getting in the 123s. My goal was to get in the like 126s for my first time around. Now I will say the Porsche Cup Car, the one thing I heard is it has less aero compared to like the Porsche GT3 or GT3R. And when people would say less air, I'm thinking, oh, like it's probably still pretty competent in the corners. Now, don't get me wrong, it is a very competent car. It is fast, but I'm used to driving a lot of GT3 cars, especially from Le Mans Ultimate and Assetto Corsa Competizione. Boy, you do not get the confidence out of this car. It is a beast. Now, in the past, this car had absolutely no traction control and ABS, but now with the new update, it does. And I was leaning on the systems a little bit, but eventually I was finding bumping it down to the lowest setting, ABS 1, TC1, was the best situation for me. because I felt the traction control was really hindering the rotation I was able to get out of the car. Very tricky car to drive, very challenging. It requires absolute perfection with your trail braking, with your throttle inputs, and your steering inputs. But I'm definitely going to stick with this series because if I can master this and become a really good driver in the Porsche Cup, everything else should seem relatively easy in comparison. So, as you can see here, we're catching up to these three up in the grid here, Mitchell, Luis, and William. They seem to be caught up in a little bit of battles here, and it's slowing them down. And so now that we got a clean lap time here, we got 127.4, so we're not too far away from a 126 lap time. Just trying to get the nuances of this track. As what I said, this is extremely technical circuit. It requires absolute perfection to get the most out of it. So we're catching up here to Mitchell at this point, and we're right on his tail, and we'll be able to use the slipstream, and I almost completely lose it, but luckily I had quick hands and I was able to catch myself, and I thought going on the curbing there it was going to really unsettle the car, but I got a little lucky. But as you can see, that was an awful corner. I went way too wide, and I took a really horrible steering angle, and now we have Roman, I'm sorry, not Ramon. Roman is right behind us, and he's got some solid pace without a doubt. So he's going to be able to utilize the slipstream, and Mitchell is making a mistake here. He goes off wide into the gravel and gets a poor exit, so we're going to be able to gain on him and use the slipstream. And we're going to have to take a little bit of defensive position. Roman backs out on us, which is good, but he's going to get a good amount of speed here coming out of this exit because we took an awful line. We're just going to kind of hog the middle of the track here, but Roman makes a brilliant move here, and a little bit of contact there. It wasn't malicious. That was just racing. He's just blocking me. Well done on his part. That was a pretty excellent move, taking it up on the inside and doing a little switchback. So he has the pace. So now what I'm hoping is with him ahead, he's going to be able to apply a lot more pressure to Mitchell compared to me. So at this point, my job is just to find the pace. And as we can see here, Mitchell spins out, and we made a really bad judgment call, and we lose a lot of time there. And we gain a position and move up into P8. However, that really hurt us. Overall, it's going to be pretty much darn near impossible. I wouldn't say impossible, but realistically, unless we really get into a rhythm on this track, it's going to be extremely difficult. Because of that slowdown, people in the back of the pack are able to catch up to us. As you can see, Bruno is right there. He is a quarter of a second, and we got a really bad exit, and now he's going to be on our inside coming into this corner. I don't know why I bumped up the ABS there to 2. I think I meant to knock the traction control down. But we're side by side in these corners, and Bruno backs out, and he's looking for a switchback. We're going to hog the middle of the corner, slow down on this exit. We don't get the best exit there, but we covered the apex and we made it difficult for him. So just focusing on a good exit here, getting speed, which we do, and we're able to get a little bit of distance between us and Bruno. So he's not really going to be able to utilize the slipstream, and he's trying to defend on Dylan. Now we got clear track ahead of us, and we got to try to figure out what the heck we're going to do here to find out where the pace is and how we're going to be optimal. So do a little walkthrough since we got some brakes. So I'm braking right about those lights there down into second. Don't let it go too wide. You got a little bit of camber you can utilize and get back on the throttle. You're supposed to utilize the full width of the track there. It wasn't the most ideal line. Once again, I'm braking right out about the second to last cone there, dribbling down into third. That is not a good line. Do not follow my instructions at all if you're learning this. But now we're back. Bruno gets overtaken by Dylan here, and Dylan's right on our tail. Without a doubt, these drivers are a lot faster than us. You can see they have like 125, low 126 pace. So we're going to have to be really good at defending here. So Dylan's going to be in our slipstream here. We blip it down here again into third gear, trying to focus on a good exit, and we really didn't get a good exit. We had to get on the throttle late, otherwise we get wide. And Dylan, he makes a really aggressive move, and he bumps us and we're trying to defend the inside, and luckily we come out, and he hits our rears there, and for whatever reason he was blaming me for that incident. There's no way. I was trying to hold the inside, and he was just trying to, you know, bump us. Yeah, brother, that was on you. You wrecked yourself. I did not wreck you there. So we go a little bit too wide there with our racing line, but we're going to get a good amount of speed here. So now Miguel is the one who's right behind us. Dylan was moved back into P11 a couple positions. And as you can see, these guys just are consistently taking a lot better corners, and I need to keep it nice and tidy, keep it tight, and utilize the camber. So you can see somebody knock that cone over. Now this is a much better line here, guys. Not ideal, but much better. Let it go out wide, but not too wide, so you can hit that apex and then focus on this right-hander here. Keep it nice and tidy. Get back on the throttle. Now this part here, you kind of got to cut the corners. You can if you get it just right. And then make sure you slow down just enough where you can hug it to the right there on the previous corner, and then get back on the throttle and use the full width of the track. Now we blip down after a little bit after that last sign. Come to the left. Don't kick it over too far to the left and pitch it in. And then you come into the last corner. You can leave it in fourth gear, but I was comfortable putting it into third gear and just kind of letting it rev out. Second gear corner. You want to get a much better trail brake, and then once you hit that apex, you get on the throttle as soon as you can. Now, one thing with this race, after this race, I actually went to, since I used Moza software and the Moza platform, I went and recalibrated my brake. I felt like I was getting to 100% brake pressure way too easily, which is not good for this car. And plus, I wanted to have a wider range to be able to modulate my brake controls better. So after that, it made it easier to where I could more consistently brake around 80 to 90% when I needed maximum stopping power, because actually going all the way to 100% is not ideal in this car. So that helped a lot. Because I did a couple races on this track after this video, but I wanted to show just the first experience in this car and see how well I did and how well I fared against others. I felt like I did a pretty decent job. I mean, as you can see, we're almost to our goal here, or actually we did meet our goal, and we were actually almost to a 126 flat. So we were really close to getting 125 times, which isn't too terrible because the aliens seem to be posting lap times in the 123.5. So first time in the Porsche Cup, first time on this track, never raced it on any other simulator, and we're able to get within 2.5 seconds. Not too terrible. Not too terrible. But man, if you guys haven't raced in the Porsche Cup, it's wild. It is like the wild, wild west. Honestly, if you want to have some pretty decent success, what I'm finding is just avoid collisions. That's something you learn in this series. You need to avoid the collisions and have much more situational awareness compared to other series. People get really aggressive. They'll go bumper to bumper. They'll bump you on your side, and there's just naturally a lot of incidents. And like I said, because this car has a lot less aero compared to the GT3 cars, you're just not going to have that front end grip. You just don't have the confidence. So it requires absolute racing perfection in terms of your throttle inputs, braking, and steering. So as you can see here, Miguel is right on our tail. We're going to defend the inside. He's going to get a better exit, but we're able to slow him up here on the apex. He gets a bad exit. Good defending on our part. Putting him down to the third gear, going out nice and wide. We could have gone a little bit earlier, but no harm, no foul. We're slowing down, defending on the apex. Good exit, utilizing the full width of the track there. And we were able to give ourselves a little bit of a gap. And as you can see, these guys are just posting really good lap time. I mean, relatively speaking. For some of you, you guys are probably a lot faster than I am, or these guys that I'm racing against. But they're right there, and now he's on our inside or our outside. So luckily, we're going to have the advantage on this corner. And now Dylan is coming up on the inside, so they're side by side, and that's going to slow him down. They're going to be battling it out, and it's going to make it difficult coming into this next corner for them. So once again, I'm hoping this will give us some breathing room. Again, I am not taking very ideal lines, but I'm learning. I'm slowly learning the feel of that corner. Keeping it nice and tidy, getting back on the throttle. Those guys are getting way on the throttle way earlier than I am. And I do have my TC on 1, so it's pretty low. So as you can see there, Miguel goes wide. He goes out into the grass. That slows him down. It gets him away from our slipstream, which is helpful. So we're able to take these next set of corners how we normally would, and it won't slow us down. So decent corner there. Got a decent amount of speed. Once again, those guys are still just finding way more pace than us. I mean, they are just on it. So he fakes a move on the inside. We defend. We slow down on the apex there and slows him down. Now he's right there with Dylan, so that makes things complicated for him. We're going into the final lap now. So all we got to do is defend our position, and hopefully we can maintain P8. So flipping it in, we missed our apex there a little bit, and not bad corner. We're just holding, revving it out into first gear, hitting the limiter, and trying to make it difficult for them to pass. And we're flipping down the second gear. We're doing a good job, not going too wide, back on the throttle, full width of the track. And now we're headed down this little straight here, braking at our normal reference point, that cone, off the throttle. We just got to do tiny little brake modulations, and we got to be careful there. Miguel's really trying to find the opportunity, and ultimately we mess up and we give him space, and Dylan's right there. He got his nose in, so we have to give him the space, and we drop back into P10, which was solely our fault on the driving perspective. So now I'm just trying to hope that these guys mess up, and as you can tell, Miguel goes off the track there, and Dylan is going to pass him there. And now it's going to make things difficult. So I'm hoping one of these guys makes a really aggressive move on these last few corners and they spin each other out. Or I'm able to make a move on the inside. But because of my poor exit, I have to defend, and now we have Gabriel right here. We're side by side, so I'm going to try to make it really difficult for him. Holding the inside line, he has to back out. We get a better exit. And thank God we luckily finished in the top 10 in our first race in Porsche Cup. Pretty satisfying, I must say. Very happy with myself. So there you have it, folks. Our very first race in the Porsche Cup. Not a bad result getting in the top 10. We did fumble a P8 position, but very tricky to drive, but man, it's a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be doing quite a few videos in this series because I think if I can master driving these vehicles, then I'm going to be able to just be a better driver overall, and every other series should be easy in comparison. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and there was a lot of entertainment. There was definitely a lot of action nonstop through that race. So if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day. Take care. See you next time.